as I always say, when it's a woman in control, a woman running things, you guys have a problem with that. And it's sad because we know what we're doing and we want change. We want things to go right in our community. Because y'all got false narratives out there and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
A few moments later.
The ongoing saga in Dalton now spilling over into the fire department.
But when the mayor first started to run in 2021, we did endorse her. And then everything went sideways.
In yet another shock to Village of Dalton trustees, a letter falling on their desks dated February 14th. Representatives from Kansas State Bank threatening to repossess 13 Village vehicles, saying more than $76,000 is overdue and climbing.
The Board of Trustees approved payment in May of 2023.
But where that loan payment went that was due 9 months ago is anyone's guess. Lawyers for the bank now warning the Village, pay up or be ready for repossession agents to take the vehicles, which includes 6 police cruisers.
Governor, are you monitoring what's going on in Dalton and Thornton Township and leadership there? Are you concerned? Taxpayers seem very worried. There's chaos at meetings. What can be done? Could you play a role in stepping in some way? What's your take on the situation?
So I've looked at that question, whether the state should and can play a role. The federal authorities, as you may know, are involved and investigating. I've read that. I think that's a public piece of information. There is an investigation that's been called for, and now I know there was a veto that was overridden that will now allow that investigation to go forward with former Mayor Lori Lightfoot in charge of that. I think that those are 2 pretty good authorities for looking into this, investigating it, and getting to the truth.
And the state, when you did look into it?
We'll support them. Well, we looked at whether we ought to put resources, whether it's state police and their anti-corruption efforts, or asking the Attorney General. The reality is that there are already 2 pretty significant investigations going on, and so we'll support them in every way that we can. But it's really just a matter of, do you want everybody running over each other in those investigations, or do you want 2 concerted efforts toward getting the facts?
Okay, so we have another update on Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Now, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Ground News. Now, I've been using Ground News to help me follow the Tiffany A. Henyard story, and one thing I find shocking about this whole story is that it's mostly being covered by center and right-leaning sources. It seems like there's a big hole on the left-leaning sources about Tiffany A. Henyard. It's like they don't want to report on the corruption of this mayor because she, too, is a Democrat. Now, this is why I love Ground News, because it helps me see those stories that either the left-wing media doesn't want to report on or the right-wing media doesn't want to report on. Now, I got a great deal for you. Go to ground.news/Nate. That's ground.news/Nate. And you can subscribe to my link and get 40% off the Vantage plan with Ground News. That gives you everything. And one thing I love is how you can see how the headlines differ from right-leaning sources and left-leaning sources. For instance, the right says, Chicago's Lori Lightfoot lands $400 an hour job investigating the worst mayor in America. Where your left-leaning sources aren't as descriptive. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot agrees to investigate mayor of suburban Dalton. Now, if you want to check out Ground News, don't forget hit the QR code that is here on the screen, link in the description or in the pinned comment. Now, back to the video. Tiffany Henyard has 2 roles. She's the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, which has a population of about 20,000. She's also the supervisor of Thornton Township, which has a population of over 100,000 people, the largest township in the state of Illinois. Now, Tiffany Henyard is probably one of the most corrupt politicians we're ever going to talk about on this channel. We've been following her exploits for the past year. Now, Tiffany Henyard is under FBI investigation for her role as mayor of Dalton and her role as supervisor of Thornton Township.
But recently obtained subpoenas show that's exactly what we've been doing. Those subpoenas reveal agents are investigating many of the same concerns over corruption and cronyism that we've been detailing in our reporting.
WGN Investigates has obtained obtained or reviewed subpoenas the FBI served to Thornton Township and Dalton. They serve as a roadmap to the ongoing federal investigation. They seek payment and expense records for Tiffany Henyard, as well as her boyfriend, who runs a violence prevention program for the township. Also named, Henyard's top aide, Dalton's acting police chief, along with 4 village and township trustees and 2 of Henyard's relatives who are on the government payroll.
Now, as you just heard, her top deputy, his name is Keith Freeman, was also indicted and arrested for bankruptcy fraud. And it's crazy because he told the government that he didn't work for Dalton, but he actually did. So they got him. This is what happened.
Despite sitting next to Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard at countless meetings, the feds allege Keith Freeman not only failed to report his income from the village, he actively lied about it. Freeman is Henyard's top aide in both Dalton and Thornton Township. As part of a personal bankruptcy case, he was required to report his earnings. But this indictment on one count of bankruptcy fraud says Freeman falsely stated he only worked for the township and made just over $99,000 last year. Prosecutors say he tried to hide his Dalton earnings via a pass-through company, which brought his income to $195,000 last year. They further allege the village of Robbins has a claim against Freeman for more than $90,000 he took without authorization from a previous post he held as village administrator there.
Now, if I go into all the details about the corruption of Tiffany Henyard, I'm going to be here all day. We've got charity corruption. We got public corruption. We got ice rinks. There's so much. Just look at the older videos and you'll see the list of things that she has been accused of doing. Now, because of all the corruption, all the missing money, the whole debacle, the Board of Trustees hired Lori Lightfoot to investigate the supermayor. But the supermayor didn't want Lori Lightfoot to investigate. So she vetoed that investigation, but then the board overrode that veto. So the supermayor, having no choice, then filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office claiming that the Board of Trustees violated her rights and the rights of the village by appointing Lori Lightfoot in this position. So in our first update, as you can see from the letter on screen, the Illinois State Attorney General's office responded to Tiffany A. Henyard's complaint about the village trustees appointing Lori Lightfoot.
You know, it's veto power. So how dare you think you could come in someone's town and start working or doing something, even though we said something stating it's illegal. We cited the code and everything in here, and she will not be paid for services.
So as you know, the Board of Trustees overrode that veto, appointing Lori Lightfoot again, and then that caused more problems.
Good morning. Well, before the disorder and chaos, Dalton trustees were able to get enough votes to override Mayor Tiffany Henyard's veto to have former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot investigate Henyard's spending of village finances. But things got out of hand after Henyard didn't allow Lightfoot to speak and tried to end the board meeting.
Now, because the Board of Trustees overrode the veto, the mayor had no choice but to pay Lightfoot. Her only avenue to stop it would then be to file this complaint with the Attorney General's office, claiming that what the Board of Trustees did was illegal and asking the Attorney General to hold them accountable and stop the Lightfoot appointment. So the AG's office at the end of this letter concluded that, quote, Section 2.2c, which Henyard was saying barred the board from appointing Lightfoot, did not require the board's agenda to define her prospective title, Lightfoot's prospective title, with precision on the agenda. Therefore, the Public Access Bureau concluded that the board did not violate the OMA, which is the Open Meetings Act, by voting to appoint Lightfoot as special investigator on April 8th, 2024. So the Attorney General's office says that Lightfoot's appointment and the fact that they're paying her for this investigation is all legit. They don't have anything to worry about, and dismissed this complaint. Then another bombshell happened. Other mayors from Thornton Township started coming out asking Henyard to resign, saying that enough's enough.
The mayor of Markham questioning her decisions and her leadership. Henyard has dual roles, mayor and Thornton Township supervisor.
I'm standing with the full force of this government here, and I don't see that happening in Thornton Township. I don't see it happening in Dalton either. That budget needs to be looked into much deeper.
Aldermen say they're being inundated with calls from taxpayers.
I hear it every day. There is no transparency within our township.
Henyard is at the center of a wide-ranging federal investigation and a number of lawsuits.
You know, at some point, there needs to be some oversight, and someone has to get to the bottom of what and why these things are happening.
Now, it's gotten to the point where the current Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, who is a friend of Tiffany Henyard, here's the picture, is also doing very similar things to Tiffany Henyard. For instance, Tiffany Henyard has come under fire for using taxpayer money to pay for her personal stylist.
Questions are also being raised about Henyard using taxpayer dollars for personal expenses, including her makeup artist. This itemized payroll sheet for the township from May of last year lists Brandon Moman as an administrative assistant. But when we reached out to him, he told us he's Henyard's makeup artist. Chris Gonzalez is a Thornton Township trustee.
Just, once again, a long series, unfortunately, of things that just seem to be done incorrectly or possibly illegally.
Now, in an interesting twist, the current mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, also is alleged to have improperly used campaign funds, not public funds, but campaign funds, to pay for hair and makeup for not only himself, but also some of his staff. Here is the argument.
We start here at 5 o'clock with questions about Mayor Brandon Johnson using campaign funds to pay for hair and makeup expenses for himself and other people tied to his campaign. The Chicago Sun-Times first reported that Johnson has spent more than $30,000 in 15 months.
Johnson has expensed more than $32,000 from January of 2023 through the end of March of this year. Campaign records show the makeup artist was paid $28,000, the hair salon $4,000.
I would be hard-pressed to say grooming is part of your governmental functions. That's not a function of government to look good.
Bert Olson is an attorney who specializes in election law. So does Michael Dorff.
The key is the law does not prohibit expenditures for grooming expenses, and it is absolutely clear that how you look is at least as important as what you say in any political situation.
The Illinois State Board of Elections says, quote, if you're making an appearance as mayor of Chicago and you hire a makeup and hair artist for the event, that would most likely be a legitimate use. But if you're using them for a strictly social event, there might be a stronger grounds for a complaint. You also can't pay more than fair market value for goods and services. During former Mayor Lightfoot's term, she expensed $8,000 total for hair and makeup.
Now, as many of you know, I'm a licensed attorney, and if you've been injured in an accident, you can reach out to me at natethelawyer.com. That's natethelawyer.com, or you can call one of my representatives at 571-NATE-LAW. That's 571-NATE-LAW. Now, one of my specialists will help evaluate your case, and if we can't help you, we can point you in the right direction to find someone who can. Now, just call the number or go to the website, and we will be able to assist you. Now, our final update comes from the Illinois Answers Project. Now, they have looked into the records and have discovered that Tiffany Henyard and her cronies were giving out no-bid contracts to some companies. Well, the bidding process is a process that's been put in place to help stop corruption. If you have multiple companies bid, then you go to the lowest bidder or who can do the best job for the cheapest amount. But a no-bid contract, you kind of get to pick who does the work. So in this case, Tiffany Henyard was able to pick the companies she wanted to do the work and not really have bids. And then on top of that, they can pretty much charge you whatever they want, obviously within reason, and not have to compete against other companies who could undercut them when it comes to proposing how much a particular project is going to cost.
We found that in 2022, at the urging of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the Village of Dalton paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in no bid, no contract work to a West Suburban contractor named Oak Construction. And this is notable because Oak Construction is linked to multiple public corruption cases. And furthermore, Oak Construction is named in the subpoena in the ongoing federal investigation of Tiffany Henyard. Okay, Oak Construction is based out of Summit, Illinois, and right now the president of the organization had pleaded guilty to bribing a Cook County assessor's official in exchange for tax breaks. And his late father was also implicated in a bribery case involving former alderman Carrie Austin. And now, they're at the center of this other investigation in the Village of Dalton. But the issue is, without a contract, you don't know what the bill of goods is that you're buying. And furthermore, without bids, you can't compare that cost against what other people might have received for the same work.
Now, last but not least, Tiffany Henyard had total control over Thornton Township and their board of directors. Unlike what's going on in Dalton, in Thornton Township, the board of directors or the trustees there were all on Tiffany Henyard's side, essentially passing any legislation that they wanted, that she wanted. But now those trustees, after the FBI subpoenas and no bid contracts and all the other stuff, have now come forward and said enough's enough. And they are going to start making more noise and trying to stop Tiffany Henyard. Here is one of the Thornton Township trustees explaining it.
Yep. I'm going to have to lose.
So why don't you tell me the truth now?
Lose your religion, girl. Go on. Do it. I'll back you up.
And I also want to say, I want to address the concerns that have been raised by many of the residents of Thornton Township. I recently read an article that someone sent me from the South Suburban newspaper. And in that article, it was titled, it was more of a question, it said Thornton Township trustees in the hot seat. And in the article, it highlighted that not one of us trustees had issued a statement or a press release regarding any information that the public has concerns with. We haven't given our role and where we stand, our opinion or concerns or plans to tighten up the situation that the citizens are concerned about. And additionally, it stated, and this was a quote, it said, seriously, if you are not a part of the solution, then you are a part of the problem. And there is definitely a problem at Thornton Township, the person wrote. And I want to acknowledge the concerns that so many of you have been voicing for so long. And I want to assure you that I am committed to improving communication and transparency. My intentions are sincere. I see, hear, and understand your concerns. And I have some of those same concerns. And I no longer sit on the board with a quiet voice. I will use my influence to do what's right for the people of Thornton Township. And I understand that the public has lost trust and confidence in us as board members, but I sit here today and say that I will do what's necessary to rebuild that trust and confidence. From my mouth to your ears, I want you to know that I stand with the residents of Thornton Township, and I am committed to being a part of the solution. Thank you for holding me accountable and for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, with all of this, with the trustees revolt, with the trustees in Thornton Township revolt, the FBI, all of the mayors revolting against her, Tiffany Henyard came out with this long Facebook statement to let people know that she is still in control and that she will win. Check it out.
I have been doing a great job at the township and at the village. When people try to bring people in to do fake investigations, because it's fake news, because they don't tell you both sides, they tell you one-sided narratives, and don't allow everybody should get investigated. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. It shouldn't be geared towards one individual. It was illegal. You cannot appoint, again, for those that don't understand politics, because that's what it is. The way politics work is every mayor in any city, in any state, you appoint, depending on your laws. But over here, we appoint the attorneys, the village administrator, village manager. We appoint the fire chief, the police chief. We appoint everybody. That is our power, guys. And people don't understand that. So then when you get 4 individuals who really is puppets to the puppet master, which is the lawyer, come in and try to overtake government, that's not how it works. As I always say, when it's a woman in control, a woman running things, you guys have a problem with that. And it's sad because we know what we're doing. And we want change. We want things to go right in our community. But sometimes there's been so much bad and so much corruption in our communities that when we try to implement the change, it's like, y'all want to know why. And y'all know why. Y'all got clubs in our community that has been shut down, clubs for shootings. And then they get their due process. And then you got people that sit here and say they want the club back open. Then the club get back open. Then they had another shooting at the club. Another shooting. But the news don't play that. So they tell you one side, but don't tell you what's going on. And that's why I tell y'all, do y'all research. Y'all should always, always, always do your research, pull paperwork so you will know what's going on. Because right now, you see everything's at stake. Everything. You watching the president race, you watching Congress, you watching the Senate, you watching all these things take place. But now, your voices must be heard, residents. You community. If you're watching this and you see me going through this, I want you to keep me in your prayers. Keep me uplifted. Because at the end of the day, only God can tell you what to do. Only God got the final say-so. He are leading us in this fight. against all these corrupt people. Because that's who I'm fighting, guys. I'm fighting devils. I'm fighting people that had it their way for so long and thought that I was going to do the same thing. But I said no. And now this is why you see me getting attacked the way you see me getting attacked. I don't know nobody that's literally on the news every single day for clicks. And I told the news the other day, y'all owe me a check. You know why y'all owe me a check? Because you guys are using my face for likes and views. Like, stop it. It's clickbait. But you don't tell the truth. They don't tell you about all these programs we got going on. Why they tell you about all this stuff that we got going on up here at the township? I'm still standing strong. I'm still 10 toes down with you. And I just want you to know that this too shall pass. And when it do pass, you'll see what's next. But I wanted to lay some facts to that fiction story, that little fake story that's out there about how it works. Myself, the mayor of Dalton, is the only one that can appoint for any of the positions I just said before you. But people not telling you that. They sitting here did a mockery about Lightfoot in. Come on, really? Stop it. You know the rules. You especially, because you was a mayor. You was. Past tense was. Brandon, come get your girl. Come on, stop playing. Y'all playing that. Y'all using everything for just clickbait. Like, it's not even worth that, guys. It's not. But I just wanted to showcase that to you today and let you know what was going on. Because at the end of the day, that's why I'm talking, because I'm trying to lay it to rest. It's so much going on, and y'all don't even got proper information to make decisions. And when y'all see me, ask me. I'll tell y'all what's up. Because at the end of the day, y'all voted for Lightfoot, right? To come in here at $400 an hour. That's $100 for every 15 minutes. But yet, y'all won't vote to open the swimming pool for the kids. But these, again, are the things... Y'all bogus. Somebody put Beetlejuice. Y'all funny. I ain't mean to read that, but okay.
Okay, so I'm going to kick it to you. How long do you think it's going to take for the super mayor to get arrested? Matter of fact, there are people out there who think the super mayor will never get arrested. Are you one of those people? I think it's just a matter of time, because this is all about the books, right? You got your family members getting paid. You got your boyfriend getting paid. You're getting paid. There's something obviously wrong here, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. Let the FBI and the authorities do their thing, and we will find out ASAP. So with that being said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.